Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Mark from Just Above Reality. Today we are checking out the GSX Pro software for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I gotta say, this is probably one of the best add-ons in payware for ground services. It has everything. You have pushback, you have complete customization of the gate, you have passengers for the first time. You have passengers boarding, deboarding, fuel trucks with fully animated, de-icing trucks, follow me, much more variety of luggage carriers that also match to the size of the airplane. So you actually have cargo loaders, making it a little bit more realistic for your flight sim experience. And the whole software costs around 35 euros. And today we're just going to do a quick little setup, show you how it works, show you how to customize your plane's position, and to make sure that everything lines up. I'll show you guys in the video a little bit later on, sometimes the boarding steps are not high enough or catering is too low. I'll show you the different things and how you can fix that. I'm going to show you now real quickly. Once you do download it, you'll get the FSDT Universal Installer. This is going to let you install the program into your Microsoft Flight Simulator, check for updates, which I'm doing right now, and always keep you on the latest version. They also have a bunch of other add-ons, F-18 radar, stuff like that you can also get from FSDT. So let's go ahead and hop on into Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay guys, so we're here in the main menu of Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're just gonna go ahead to World Map, choose our airport. I think we're gonna take off from Frankfurt, and we're just gonna choose a gate. Let's see, we're gonna need a little bit larger. Let's take parking 1441, set as departure, and we're going to hop onto one of our airliners and take the Dreamliner 787-10. We're just going to go ahead and load that up. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice, the GSX software will load up automatically when you hop into the plane. Sometimes you'll get a message here on the top left corner that says this airplane is parking is too small for the airplane, and I'll show you how to fix that. That's a simple fix, but we are in one of the larger terminals here, gates designed for these wide body planes. So from the bat, we can go ahead and you have a few options here. You can request deboarding, you can request catering service, request refueling. That is a glitch of the software, that it just kind of disappears. Request boarding, request pushback and departure, operate jetway, operate stairs, additional services, all that fun stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is operate jetway. And you'll see everything pops up and everything's a little bit haywire. As you can see, our pushback car is on the roof. It's all kind of messed up. And jetway isn't coming for some reason. So we're going to figure out why it's doing that. Okay, so now we're here in the custom parking editor. WSDA, you're actually using your drone camera for this. So your typical drone movement, WSDA forward, back, left, right, and the numpad for going up, down, reset of course with 5. And now we can see everything that's loaded up. We can decide where it should be. So the first thing we see is our pushback vehicle. And if you look up here, there is a little cheat sheet on how to move it. Easy, numpad forward, next object, F4, F1, previous, all that fun stuff. Now, a good friend of yours is going to be shift, because if you just use the numpad, you'll see they move. You have to click a lot. Now this one, we're not going to move that far. We're just going to put it in here, but you can, with shift, make it move a lot faster. But as for this vehicle, it's perfect right there. Next thing we're going to do, click F4, and that will take you to your next object. So here, our boarding trolley, our baggage handler trolleys, we're going to definitely move them because half of them are sitting on the roof. Move them over here. We can rotate them with an F7, F8. give it kind of a nice little custom look. Maybe something like that. And then we'll go to the next one. Bring him also over. You can see he's just all in the air. And we're also going to rotate you a little bit and put him something like there. That's not bothering anyone. It's a good place. So next, we're going to see what's going on. This is for a third cargo train, but we do not have a third one with this plane. And now we're going to our baggage loaders, move them a little bit nicer. Not too bad, but I kind of want it a little bit more where I want them. Somewhere. Let's put them behind each other, one after the other. Somewhere like that. Well, the next guy is going to be right behind him, ready to get going. Okay, after we got them, we don't have the third one. Now this is preference. I tend to turn this one off when we're at a gate, because it's very rarely you have a rear staircase at the gate, unless it's the first flight of the morning and they're doing some kind of special stuff to the plane. So we can leave it, but as you can see, its position is not very optimal for starting, so I definitely move it all the way back here, so it's just kind of out of the way. Third stairs we do not have, fourth we do not have. So now the airplane. The airplane can be a little tricky. So we want you to have a nice position so that the first door lines up well with the gate. So we're gonna move it back probably around there, just so that the gate, whoopsie-daisy. You know, it's a nice clean move to the gate. Now what you have to make sure you do is after you move the plane back, oh yeah, this is another thing I want to show you, the radius. F5, F6, that's a big one. Now your airplane radius, as you can see, it fits the plane, but it's a little bit tight. It could be that this is the radius of the gate, and then at this point you're going to get a warning, gate too small for the plane. So what you do is you just increase the radius until pretty much your whole plane is covered. So now the radius of the plane is definitely big enough that you're not going to get any warnings about your parking position. Now the next thing we have to do is the stop position for the marshal, because that will influence your plane's location. And we kind of want it to be at the same spot where we assign the airplane, which is about there, which is pretty good. Let's go to the next one. Our marshal, I've noticed. Where is she? There we go. As you can see, our marshal is doing his job from the roof. That's not gonna really work. So let's bring them forward into a nice position. Now you do have options with the marshal. You can either leave an actual Persian marshal, or you can get a little more custom. As you can see, we can change to F2, F3, previous and next system. So if we click F2, you can see we'll start getting different types of parking systems, which we can then customize into place. So let's say, let's pick a nice one here. Okay, let's say we like this one. You can see it's wall mounted, so we can go ahead and click it right there into place. This is just kind of grobe and quickly. Normally I'd move it a couple inches down. And there you go. Now we got a nice little park system, keeping us in the digital world. Okay, so that's it for ground positions. So now when we load up, let's close this screen. Now when we load up the GSX software, let's go ahead by operate jetway. You can see everything is doing what it's supposed to do. The jetway is now running. Before it was not doing that. Everything is coming into place. We have our vehicles parked where they're supposed to be. Perfect. So now we can start doing all our handling. But a quick thing I'm going to do before we start doing that is we're going to set up the customize airplane. This one is very important. This is where when things get goofy, doors don't open, stuff like that, this is the one that's going to customize this plane to be perfectly on par. So we know our passenger door 1 is doing what it's supposed to do. It's lined up. We're going to go to PAX door 2. Now see, here it says open close. We know that this plane doesn't have any action for the second door, so we're just going to take it off. Same for the third door, which already shows no action. Now the fourth door is why we have a stairs for the back door. Now we know in this airplane the back left door doesn't open. This is a personal preference. Either you can choose to keep it and say, okay, I want the stairs to come on even though this door doesn't open, or you can turn it off and it's going to also get rid of the stairs vehicle. Now say you do want to keep it, a good way to check that your stairs are going to line up with the door is go to customize in 3D. And what this is going to do, again, you go back to the drone camera, it's going to show you the exact position of where the stairs is going to line up. Now as you can see here, it looks good, but sometimes you'll have it that it's either, you know, a little bit too far forward, somewhere in the middle. I'll show you here the diagram real quick. So again, it's forward, move, and F4, F1 raise and lower, which you might have to do depending on the airplane. So we're going to move this thing forward. And again, shift will let you skip a little bit so you're not clicking a million times. And get it just inside the plane. You do have to rotate these sometimes, but this one looks relatively good. Once you're done, hit enter and you're done with that one. But like I said, I'm going to take this off because I don't have a moving door at this position. Nose gear is important to make sure that, let's go hop over to the nose, it's centered. As you can see, this one is centered. This is going to be for pushback so that it can properly know where to line up your nose gear. GPU as well. This is for the cabling and the location of the GPU trolley. I tend to keep the trolley just a little bit off to the side, a couple feet forward, just so that you got a nice little distance for the cable to run. After that, we're going to go to Service 1 and customize in 3D. This is your... Oh yeah, Service 1 is going to be catering. So, like I said, this plane doesn't have a physical action for the front right door, for the forward passenger door. So I'm going to just go ahead and disengage it so I do not have a second catering vehicle coming to that location when the door doesn't actually physically open. Cargo is interesting. So cargo, you got a couple of options. We are going to actually, before we do that, let's move our camera. We'll go into drone mode. Let's move our camera to the cargo door just so I can show you a few tricks. So we're going to go back into our customized airplane. And now we are going to click on cargo. Now the first thing you want to do, sometimes it could be set like this. And if you click open door, you'll notice nothing happens. You have to scroll through your options. It's a bit of a pain, but it helps at the end to find which one actually controls the cargo door. So that way it will automatically open when the action is activated. So you can see nothing yet. Let's go to number 8, nothing, 9. Okay, so now we know that this action is controlled with number 9. So we can go ahead and leave that open for a second. You can choose now, that's the nice thing about this thing, you can choose what kind of cargo handling you're gonna have. So we know for a fact that this plane doesn't use belt. It's got a nice larger containers, cargo containers. So you can go ahead and choose the different types of containers that you want to take for this plane. You can choose automatic, and it does a pretty good job of choosing the cargo. For the A320, you're going to use a belt system. So, you know, you can choose here what kind you want. Again, customize in 3D. Just check that it makes sense. You know, look that the height is proper. Yeah, it looks pretty good. That's exactly where I want it to be. And then just hit enter once you're done. Next thing we're going to do is check our engine location. And this is for your cones. Oh no. So here we have the bypass pin. I don't know why they call it engine, must still be an old glitch. Shows you where the bypass pin is going to be stuck in. That's pretty much where it is in the real world, so we're good with that. Engine 2, we'll go ahead and check its position. And that looks good. That is centered on the engine. This is just going to be where your cones are. So you see how these are a little bit more back? I could move the engine more forward, hit enter, and that's going to move the cones more into their proper position. De-icing is to set up your wings location so that the de-icing truck knows where to start its de-icing and where to end its de-icing. I like to go a little bit closer to the wing and to the flaps. And then again, de-icing out. It's just going to show us where the last de-icing point is. And that for me is already a little bit too far. We don't need to de-ice the wingtips. Let's say somewhere about there. Enter. Done. Okay, fuel is going to set the custom position from where they are going to plug in the fuel tanks. Now with this plane, there are no markings of where the fuel caps are. There are some airlines out there where you do have the little fuel cap marking. You can just set this ball right underneath it. This one is actually sitting perfect. After that, we're going to go to our second cargo door. Now I do know, again, with this standard Boeing 787, I do know with the standard Boeing 787, there is no aft cargo. So you could leave it on, but it's just going to be animating, putting cargo through the hull of the plane without opening the door. So I'm going to actually turn it off, because there is no animation at this position and nothing actually happens. Now another thing is, if you do want it to animate into this back door, make sure door without open close check, because what's going to happen in the game is it's going to pull up the cargo truck and it's going to try to open the door, but it can't find the action for it because it isn't programmed. So you're going to get a failure message kind of that's saying, please open blah, 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 and you're not going to be able to. So that's why I just completely cut the back, or you can choose to do it without open a door check. Same thing with this, you could do for the 777 cargo plane, which has a rear opening cargo hatch on the top. You can completely program this to move to the other side to load up. That's super easy. So we're going to say no door at this position. And next thing is our final service door. We are going to close the door. We can see that is standing door 8. Same thing for these doors. You got to check if it doesn't work right away. You're going to have to find the number that matches to it. We're going to check that position as well. And as you can see, it's not 100% accurate. We are going to go ahead and, whoa, that was a little bit close, rotate, and that's with 1 and 3. Just so, position's good, but we do want to rotate a little bit so they have a nice, even, there we go. So now you're going to have a nice flush. The truck is going to be curved, turned a little bit to the side so that it perfectly flushes with the door. And that's it. Lavatories and water don't work yet. That is going to be an add-on in the future with an update most likely. So now you have pretty much just set up, move this. So this you only have to do once. It's going to always remember where the cargo and the doors are, no matter where you fly with this plane. The only thing that you always have to do is your gate. That is where you might have to customize. Airport position is for where the vehicles are standing. If it's kind of wonky, if you don't like the way they look, that is going to let you customize it. So after you finish that, we're going to restart. And you're going to see now, when I start it back up. Okay, so once you got everything set up the way you want, you got your cars, you got your position, you can go ahead and get started. And first thing we're going to do is operate the jetway. You're going to see the jetway move forward there. Our vehicles are going to start loading into where we want. And as you can see, because I turned off the rear cargo position, we only have one baggage trolley and one loader, which is exactly what I wanted. So once you're all set, you can just go ahead and get going. You can either decide to start with the deboarding or just go straight into boarding. I'll show you all that in the next segment. Cool thing also, you can load your sim brief from simbrief.com, so it will give you accurate weight, fuel, quantity, all that fun stuff. Passengers, how many you have. We're just going to animate deboarding here, just so you can see, and we could go ahead and run catering, get them coming as well. And you're going to see how everything just kind of goes into action. Doors are going to open up, baggage cars, they're all going to move into place and do what they're supposed to do. So there's a few things you got to kind of work out there. As you can see, our baggage cart is a little messed up right now, but our passengers are already boarding. And I'll see something like that where I see, okay, the baggage car is kind of glitching out. I need to put them somewhere over here. Just stuff like that. It's all a part of just, you know, trial and error, just figuring out what works best for you. So we are going to hop over now to a different airport so I can show you how we can set up passengers heading out from the terminal to your airplane. Okay, so we just loaded into Frankfurt Hahn, which is about an hour away from Frankfurt, and it's quite snowy here. As you saw, we just had the warning, parking space too small, which is fine. We're going to ignore that, and we're going to, again, change that in the settings. So once you're here, this airport is a pure walk to plane. As passengers will always walk to the plane from the gate at this airport. They do not have any bus services. Well, they might on, actually, no. I don't think so. Looks like this is a complete walk. Normally there's a bunch of guardrails here. I've been to this airport several times. But yeah, snowy day today. We're going to go ahead and set up our airplane. Now we are in the A320. Again, customize airport position. This is a medium ramp. That's all good. Now we're going to customize the vehicle position just to make sure everything is where we want it to be. As you can see, our plane is a little bit too far forward. We're going to just skip that, move our plane back to about on the line. And like I said, we're going to increase our plane's radius. Just go crazy. It doesn't matter. It's, you know, you just want to be big enough that you're not going to get this message anymore complaining about your plane's position. And then we're just going to go and move our stop position also back to where it's supposed to be on the line. After clicking 1,000 times. And there you go. So our airplane is now where we want it to sit. All our vehicles are in the proper place. Now we're going to customize PAX pathway waypoints. This is going to let them come from the terminal to the plane in the pretty much any way you want them to. So we're going to click on that, hit OK, and again you're going to use your drone camera to move around. There you can see now there is our first waypoint, which we now need to take over to the terminal. And the way we're going to do that is just kind of move it over to this door over here. That's going to be our first waypoint. And we'll hit F6. That's going to save that and load up our next waypoint. And this is pretty much what we're going to do all the way until we get it where we want. Now you can see here we do have some vehicles in the way. Actually do not know why they are so far away. Let's leave this real quick and move some stuff around. We're gonna go back into our custom vehicle position and definitely move this pushback closer to the plane. Not that close. Somewhere around here. And definitely get our... What's going on with you? Move that guy over a little bit. F4, F4, F4. Stairs. Those definitely need to get a little bit closer. I don't know why they are so far away. Okay. Then we hit enter and go back into our custom passenger waypoints. Okay, now we can continue building here. Again, shuffle through, and then F6 is going to give us the next waypoint. And that we are just going to move over here, somewhere around there, right about there. F6, and then our last one is going to go right about here. That's a good position for it. And with the last one, you just have to hit enter, and you should have 4 points on your map. There, you can see you have custom 4 waypoints. You can adjust the thickness. You can take the barriers out. Say you have a purchased airport where it already has nice railing, then you can have the barriers removed. And that's it for setting up custom packs. Now you also have custom walker waypoints, and this is for, say you have a nicer terminal with glass windows. You can actually put pedestrians inside that walk back and forth to also give a little bit more life to your sim. Okay, and once you got that done, you're pretty much all set. Now we just go to our GSX menu and pretty much get going. We're gonna start with additional services. I'm gonna show you each service in action so you can kind of see how it looks. So we're gonna start with request GPU, and now it's gonna ask you which service do you want to use. We're gonna use Condor or Air Berlin. We'll use Air Berlin just as default. And now you're gonna see a bunch of Air Berlin vehicles popping up. And we're also gonna go to additional service and already request our de-icing. Now this option pops up only in minus temperatures. You'll not be able to use de-icing if it is too warm outside. So here comes our GPU, nicely animated. That's just gonna pop onto the front of the plane and connect. Ooh, excuse me. And the icing truck should also be on the way. Alright, so here come our de-icing vehicles. Like I said, this is going to give you this option in cold temperatures when you're, so you can set the sim to around -3, -5 degrees, and it's going to ask you, it is going to ask you by pushback if you'd like to do de-icing first, or you can just go ahead like I did and animate it before you start passenger boarding. Now here you can choose what type of fluid and how much. We're going to go on the
We begin treatment now and
versions.
observe fluid type 1. Concentration at 50%. I will call you back when ready.
So yeah, now you can see them nicely animated. They're going to just spray the wing from left to right on both sides. So the icing is now finished. They are going to pull back and leave. So that's just a nice animation. It doesn't actually have any physical characteristics of the plane yet. that might come in the future.
De-icing and anti-icing completed, and de-icing code is fluid type 1. Concentration at 50%. I'm disconnecting. Good day.
There you go. So they are now going to leave. De-icing is finished. So after that, we're going to request catering, request refueling, and we're also going to go ahead and start with boarding. So the nice thing about this, you can do all this at once. You can have everything happen at the same time. You're going to see now everything's starting to move around. The boarding vehicle is going to get into place there. And if you had, like I said, if you had your sim brief uploaded, you can load it into here and you'll then have accurate passenger, weight, and fuel counts according to what you have on your sim brief. So you can see a nice little animation as the stairs come into place. And it's going to ask you, would you like to board crew? Either no, crew, pilot, or both. We're going to do both since this is a cold and dark. So it's going to pretty much get everybody going in. Now, as you can see here, waiting for passenger doors. This is because our plane, for some reason, wants it to be done manually. Now, that's no problem for this plane. We can just easily go into our airplane, go out of the drone mode, get a little bit of power in here. And open those doors manually. So go here to door, cabin door, cargo door, and the aft door will also open. And you can see now everything is going to be going into procedures. So I got a nice view of Sky Chef here, getting ready to load up with yummy, delicious food. And you can see this is also fully animated as our Sky Chef catering team starts loading up the plane. Has a nice little sound of the different, as it's going along the grate there, you can actually hear the wheels rolling through. It's really nicely done. And you can see our crew, a little bit of a mess up with our one ground vehicle here. You can see it's kind of in the way there that we would definitely fix again in the edit. But for now, just to simulate, we're just going to leave it there. So there's our terminal boss. He's going to show our captains where to go. And we have our captain and first officer getting ready to board the plane. You know what? That kind of bugs me. So I'll be right back with a fixed version. Okay, and through the quick magic of editing, we now have everything looking clean. So as we see, our pilots are making their way onto the plane. Now the pushback vehicle is no longer in the way of the passenger loading position, so it's going to be nice and easy to get those passengers on the plane. So that's the nice thing about the software. Editing is very quick, it's very easy. It took me 2 seconds to pause the video, restart it, move the pushback vehicle more in, just so I have this nice clean shot of our passengers boarding the plane. So our pilots are now boarded. After pilots come crew. They're going to hop on into the plane. So for your passenger density, you can actually set that in the GSX menu. If you go to settings, under timing, you can adjust how many people board at once. I have mine very dense because I have mine very dense because I don't really want 1 or 2 passengers boarding at a time. I'd rather have a group of people coming. So this gets you a nice flow of passengers and makes it relatively quicker. Now, as you can see, the flight crew greets our passengers. And the nice thing is when you're inside the airplane, you do have full passenger sounds as they board. You get a nice view here. So this is what I love about this. So you're getting pre-flight ready, you're getting your plane going, you're starting up the APU, and the entire time you just have very nice views of fully animated passengers. And that just, you know, makes it that one little step more realistic. So you can here get your pre-flight ready as you hear the passengers getting on board. And that's about it. That's everything to get your plane up and ready, everything where you want it to be. 2 more things I'm going to show you is Pushback and Follow Me once you arrived at an airport. That's kind of interesting how they made that as well. So yeah, enjoy these last shots as our passengers board the plane, and I'll be back as we taxi to parking. So the last thing I want to show you in this video is the follow me feature. So say you just got to the airport and you're not quite sure where you're supposed to park. Not a problem. You just go to the GSX program and you can see you have a bunch of options here. You can either request de-icing, you can request to go back to the runway, or we can park. So we are going to park at B. Now here's where you can request the follow me. So I'm going to request the follow me, and we'll also select the handler. So the follow me is now heading our way. So our follow me car is now arriving and ready to take us to the gate. You can see a nice little follow me sign lights up, and he's gonna pretty much drive in front of us at a set speed that again you can also change in the settings. Now we're just gonna turn in here as the marshal is going to guide us in. Just a little bit more. And she's going to tell us to cut the engines. And that's it. And that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed that in-depth video of the GSX software ground handling services. I definitely think it's worth the money. I'm not getting paid for this video. I just felt like making it for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informational. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to leave me a comment. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll be seeing you in the skies here on Just Above Reality.